Want to hear a more diverse perspective on art? Tune in to Speaking of Art, the official podcast of Sharjah Art Foundation, featuring conversations with some of the most prominent artists and curators from Asia, Africa, and around the world. Listen to Speaking of Art wherever you get your podcasts.
Shop Macy's Black Friday specials for amazing deals on gifts they'll love now while supplies last. Like 25% off Nike for him, her, and kids. 75% off fine jewelry. And 10 to 50% off select appliances from Black & Decker, Cuisinart, Instant Pot, and more. Plus, get it faster with store pickup now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. Please note that stores are closed Thanksgiving Day.
At Strayer University, we see you striving to work harder and go further. That's why we provide you with the tools you need to get there, like offering a brand new laptop when you enroll in a bachelor's program. So you can do your coursework anytime, anywhere, and always keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Eligibility rules, restrictions, and exclusions apply. Connect with us for details. Strayer University is certified to operate in Virginia by Chev and has many campuses, including at 2121 15th Street North in Arlington, Virginia.
Shop Macy's Black Friday specials for amazing deals on gifts they'll love now while supplies last. Like 25% off Nike for him, her, and kids. 75% off fine jewelry. And 10 to 50% off select appliances from Black & Decker, Cuisinart, Instant Pot, and more. Plus, get it faster with store pickup now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply. Please note that stores are closed Thanksgiving Day.
With combining your hard work and climate-smart agriculture, we can make it together. Thank you very much.
You could do a better one for Dalia Crow. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daniel Crow, is the ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Ghana. And I now also have the privilege of welcoming the Deputy Head of Mission of the European Union in Ghana, Jonas Klaas. A big round of applause to him for me.
Good afternoon. Your Excellency, Ambassador Krul, representatives from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Mr. Kingsley, representatives from academia, farmers' organizations, private sector, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I'm really pleased to be here today. Coming to the University of Ghana is always one of my favorite destinations. You can always feel the enthusiasm, the hustle and bustle on campus. It always gives me a boost of optimism because no, it's true. If you look around yourself, these are future leaders of Ghana sitting around you. So I think I'm always reminded that the future of Ghana is a bright one. Like the ambassador of Germany, I also have a confession to make. I'm not a farmer. I did grow up in farm country, though. Every time when we would say the wind is in the wrong directions, you could smell the pigs coming, the wind coming, blowing from the east. So there were a lot of pig farms where I would grow up. And indeed, when we looked into our family tree, if you go back 2 generations, most of my ancestors and former generations were all day laborers, all farmers as well in that sector. Like our moderator, I also like food, as you can tell. I'm a true carnivore, as you can say. No, really, a special thanks to your university for hosting us today. Particularly the room that we are in here today is quite meaningful. We're in the Faculty of Agriculture, West Africa Center for Crop Improvement, as the nice placard says here below. It's really the nice selection for this event. Merci. To cover this subject at a university, I think it's also well chosen. First of all, as we know, the impact of climate change will present a threat to our younger generations in particular. And our collective response will really rely on knowledge-based approaches involving the brightest students, the brightest researchers that are available, so we clearly came to the right place. We're here today within the framework of the EU Climate Diplomacy Week, which is more than just a catchy title for an annual event. You will soon notice that real experts will take the seats here and discuss critical issues related to climate change, who, unlike me, really know what they're talking about. These are people that experience the effects of climate change firsthand and who are on the front line to study the issue and to help Ghana to better prepare itself against the effects of climate change. And during this Climate Diplomacy Week, we convene not just here in Accra, but in delegations around the world, and the EU has approximately 140 of them. So while we're sitting here, others are gathering in Southeast Asia, in the Americas, to discuss this very important issue. Really with the focus to foster cooperation and to strengthen local adaptation. Because that is the central theme for today, adaptation. The ability to adapt to the adverse impact of climate change and foster climate resilience. We're not going to be able to stop climate change in every corner of the planet tomorrow. So in the meanwhile, we will look at many ways that this change is already a reality and that we move ahead beyond prevention to help the most vulnerable and those that are the most affected. This year, the EU Climate Diplomacy Week takes place on the eve of the climate conference, the global climate conference called COP28, which will start at the end of this month in Dubai. And at this conference, as the ambassador indicated, representatives from around the world will aim to align their climate actions and to agree on hopefully ambitious actions that help us reach the objectives that were set out through the Paris Agreement. And these commitments are really important. But at the same time, we need to translate the commitments that are done at meetings in Dubai, in New York, in Paris, you name it, into real action for farmers here in Ghana. That is why, in a few minutes, the European Union will proudly launch the Consolidated Manual on Conservation Agriculture, together with the Ambassador of Germany, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. It really makes our collaborative efforts to promote sustainable farming really tangible with, I'll promise you, a hefty book. But it will be available, I was told, in an e-version as well in the coming weeks. So stay tuned on the appropriate social media services. The manual provides guidance, best practices, and standardized approaches to climate adaptation in the savannas. And we really hope that, like many books that are out there, it won't just gather dust. We're convinced that it will be used. It will be used to train extension agents in agriculture colleges. Around 2,000 of them will benefit from it. This is just one of the ways that the EU, together with the government of Ghana and many other partners, supports the development of the agriculture sector. The program, which you see here on the banner to my left, is our largest ongoing program in Ghana, with a budget of approximately 132 million. It's a program that helps the agriculture sector while building resilience against climate change. Concrete projects aim to increase agricultural productivity, to protect natural resources, and to increase productivity. Also to improve access to markets and capital. The program targets the drier regions of the country that are the most vulnerable, namely Upper West, Savannah, and Northeast. So we have these demonstration plots, particularly in the northwest of the country. I believe they're about 1 acre each. And in these plots, these adaptation practices have been applied. And at its core, there's really three simple principles. And I mean simple, so that even a simple soul like myself can understand it. It comes down to having little soil or no soil disturbance, permanent soil coverage, and crop rotation. So fairly simple principles that, if applied, can be good not just for the planet, but also for the wallets of the farmers. Because when applied, these results are really quite promising. We see that crop yield and soil health improves over the years, and that the income of farmers also increases as the production costs go down. And this was, to me, quite compelling when I learned about the program, is that these adaptation measures aren't just done to conserve the planet and to go green, but they really help to make farming more profitable. I think that's quite laudable. The use of organic pesticides, for example, is not just good for the environment, but it's also the cheapest product on the market, and it works with greater efficiency than conventional means. So as you know, the European Union is made up of 27 member states, and we really engage in climate adaptation support in a Team Europe approach. That means working together with other countries like Germany, like France, to achieve really great impacts and to expand our reach. And this reach can be quite sizable. Another program that we concluded last month, supporting climate-resilient agriculture, reached 160,000 people, most of them women, from 9 regions across Ghana. And more EU support is underway. Last month, the Ministry of Finance and Team Europe partners, they signed 2 new agreements that support climate-resilient agriculture value chains with an additional €15 million. And that's where I'll end the self-congratulatory remarks. And I'm going to safely put our feedback on the ground, because it's important. We still have a way to go. The road is still long. Conventional farming in Ghana also remains the dominant practice. So we have to sustain our commitments. There's no room for complacency. So that is why this unifying spirit behind the EU Climate Diplomacy Week is so important. To bring the commitments made in Accra, in Nairobi and in Paris, in Dubai and in other cities around the world, to the everyday realities of farmers in Bole, in Avrongo, in Yendi, and climate-affected communities around the world. I thank you.
Thank you very, very much. A bigger round of applause for him. Bigger one. Thank you, Jonas Klaas. And we are live on the Joy News channel. We are also live on Joy 99.7 FM. We are live across our many social media platforms on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter as well. And many of you are joining us via that means on digital media. We thank you. We're also on myjoyonline.com tonight. And indeed, as I said earlier, I was looking forward to this very important moment, and the moment is here. The most important thing about this conversation is that it's about real farmers, wherever they are. And that's why, through the power of television and radio, many, I believe, have joined us, are listening very keenly. But from here, they get to have a very practical manual that would help them become climate smart in what they do. Again, it is a privilege that I can once again invite a number of dignitaries who will help us formally unveil this very important document for conservation agriculture, a manual that has been put together, a very simple manual that will guide our farmers and our extension agents across the country. An estimated 2,000 of them will benefit from this. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome once again Daniel Kroh. He is the ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, who joined me up here. Also joining me once again is Jonas Klaas, who unfortunately just took his seat, but yeah, we'll come back. Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Jonas Klaas. Also joining me is Kingsley from the Ministry for Food and Agriculture. We'll also be joined by Professor Irene Susanna-Jerry, of course, the farmer who set us off, setting the tone. Thank you very much. Prof, thank you. I'm very delighted that all of them can join us for this. And indeed, let's have the document in there. And I'm going to hand this over to Jonas to say a few words to formally unveil this. Jonas? Okay.
Thank you, and thank you for your help with the choreography. It was clearly much needed. So again, very proud today to unveil this tangible commitment, let's say, to climate adaptation globally, but particularly here in Ghana. Happy to present this to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Please.
All right, thank you very much. In fact, we want to thank EU for making this manual available to the ministry. This manual indeed will go a long way to support the agriculture extension delivery because, as I said, one of the climate smart agriculture practices is conservation agriculture. This manual will be used by both agriculture extension officers in agriculture training colleges as well as those in the field. Farmers can also use this manual. It will also be beneficial to researchers as well as students. So indeed, we are grateful to you, EU, for making this manual available to Ghana. Thank you very much.
So this is a very important manual as they take the photographs. It's more than just a photo opportunity. It is actually a manual that will help the farmers, as I say, become climate smart. And you're wondering, so where do you get a copy after here? Shortly in the next 2 weeks, copies will be made available on websites and on the many social media handles of the EU and GIZ that you can access. Hard copies will also be available. We just have 50 copies here, so those here who need it, I'm pretty sure will get some of this or a couple of this for your purposes as well. So we'll announce pretty shortly where else you can get it, but expect to have it in soft copies as well, available to download for your purposes. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very much. A big round of applause. A big round of applause for them. Thank you very much. Daniel Kroll, Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany to Ghana. Jonas Klaas, Deputy Head of Mission, the European Union in Ghana. Kingsley Kwesi Ajiman, Climate Change, Natural Resources Management Specialist, Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Professor Irene Susanna Jir, who is the Associate Professor and Dean, University of Ghana School of Agriculture. So the document is finally unveiled, and pretty shortly access will be given for all those who need it across the country. We can now settle for our conversation. Remember that this is also, the main event actually is a panel conversation where we break down the issues. How to build climate change adaptation capacity at the farmer level. And I have just a panel to help us navigate this subject. I am delighted to invite my panelists to join me up here. First is Celine Matson. Celine, let me please invite you. A round of applause for Celine. Celine is a program manager, agriculture delegation of the European Union, and we are grateful that she can join us for a conversation tonight. And she started her career in the private sector, posted in different countries in Africa and the Caribbean. She joined the European Union 18 years ago as the EU delegation in Uganda, where she was in charge of private sector development and followed trade-related matters for more than a decade. Now, in 2015, she moved to Asia, the EU delegation in Indonesia, where she continued working on development cooperation programs. Her work focused on the Asian regional economic integration, including support for harmonized food safety regulatory framework. And I'm delighted that she can join us for a conversation. Of course, you know her already, an associate professor at the University of Ghana's Department of Agricultural Economics and Agribusiness. She's also the Dean of the School of Agriculture, College of Basic and Applied Sciences. Her research is concerned with productivity and profitability of organic, conventional, and sustainable farming and agribusiness. Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Ayering Susanna Ejir. Also joining us for a conversation is Dr. Kofi Boampong-Sem. And ICC, parents were smallholder farmers, so he was born into it, right? so he's agriculture by birth, right? And so he inherited it. It's in his gene. It's almost genetic. And I'm delighted that he can join us. At the age of 12, his mother's cocoa farm got burnt by bushfire, and life became very tough for the family. Now, the bitter life experience at that age motivated Dr. Boampong-Sem to develop a strong disdain for fire on the farmland, and he vowed to fight the slash and burn method of land preparation for the rest of his life. And that's one of those initiatives that we've been talking about ending. Now, for him, it was more than just stopping it. It was a mission that has been possible through a combination of knowledge acquired at school, practical experience from living and working on the farm, as well as some traditional knowledge learned from the elderly as well. Dr. Boampong-Sem is an agronomist and a conservation agriculture promoter in Ghana and in the SAB region. He works through the Center for No-Till Agriculture, the organization he founded with support from the Howard G. Buffet Foundation. His extension works on conservation agriculture with smallholder farmers in Africa has provided ample evidence of the suitability of agricultural intensification with less needed on the farm. And so this is a very important part of this, and I'm happy that Dr. Boampong-Sem can join us for a conversation. A big round of applause again for him, for me. And of course, this last gentleman possesses a BSc degree in Applied Biology from the University of Development Studies, Ghana, and MSc in Natural Resources, Sustainable Environment Management from the University of Greenwich, United Kingdom. He is a climate change and natural resources management specialist at the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. You've heard him already today. Mr. Kingsley Kwesi Agyemang is also my panelist, and invite him to join me. And you can guess where I'll start. I'm just going to be asking a few questions. And by the way, okay, we'll also have in the audience joining us with perspectives on this, a woman who obviously has played a role on the ground working with the farmers as an agent, agricultural extension agent, Tanto Alice. You'll hear her voice pretty shortly. Tanto, great to have you join us. We'll give her a microphone to chip in because, as you know, she is experiencing this on a daily basis with the farmers. And so once we have a conversation, it's important to hear her thoughts on how this is affecting the farmers. So, Alice, thank you for joining us. Although I know you're been slightly under the weather, but you've decided to be here on behalf of your farmers. So we applaud you. Please, a good round of applause for her for me. Great. So I'm just going to ask the questions. And again, let me also confess, I'm not a farmer. I benefit off the hard work of the farmers, as I just illustrated at the beginning with my lunch. So I have a lot of questions about food. We all do, right? Food is everything. It's a common denominator. We all eat. So when it comes to that, we have questions. One of the questions I have, which I know may affect, as I illustrated what I eat and how much I eat, I'll put that to Prof first, because they do the research, and so they will give us an overview. Prof, forgive me. But my justification is that they also say ladies first. So if it's not you, Celine would have taken the question, but let me ask you first. Give me a sense of the challenges farmers face in Ghana due to climate change. We talk about this quite a lot. We take it for granted. How big a deal is it for the farmers?
Oh, it is a big deal. You know, I teach a course at the master's level. It's called Climate Smart Agriculture. Because we have a Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies. And there, we don't only teach, we engage a lot with the farmers. So I know the farmers' challenges. Apart from being the absentee farmer, you know, I'm not always there. I try to be there, but I know that because our farmers are depending on nature so much, and when we say climate change, two variables, rainfall and temperature. Now, when we have temperature rising, there are soil issues, there's environment issue, it brings the pest and disease issues. You get me? And it's not only plants, it's animals, it's fish. And therefore, what they suffer most is failure in terms of crops. Then the yields are not what they want. The catch is not what we want. You get me? The animals are not coming, are even giving birth well. There's high mortality, there's emaciation or even malnutrition. You get me? Because there isn't enough. We do extensive cattle, sheep, goat rear, and therefore we depend so much on nature for good grass. And if you don't get it that way, you can imagine. So I know that this is what my farmers suffer. But what they suffer most, for me, I have interacted for more than 30 years, is knowledge and how to respond. Because there's enough, I know, that there are a lot of options that have been thrown, and that's what we teach. And yet, when it comes to implementing, uptaking, some don't know. Those who know may be poorly resourced, because a lot of the times, my mango farm, if I have to manage pests and diseases, and I even use inorganic practices, how much I have to spend, I sympathize with those who do not have accumulated capital. So that is what I know in reality my farmers suffer.
Okay, yeah, and
Yes.
Dr. Bapon, do you identify with this because you do this on a daily basis?
Surely I do. It's rare. Now, what is happening is that those of us who have gone through the ages, you really can tell that in those days, farmers knew when to plant and when to harvest. They knew the calendar. For instance, down in the humid part, farmers knew that they could plant late March, early April to be able to harvest in August, when the weather was dry, when you could not talk about aflatoxin, and when good grain could be stored. And then be able to prepare the land the latter part of August and start planting in September. I'm referring to maize, which is planted across the country. And then harvest after Christmas, January, February, when the weather is dry. But what is happening now? Timing of farm activities, especially with regards to planting and harvesting, has become a matter of lottery. And we all know, very much unpredictable when you plan everything along lottery lines. And so, farmers are in a dilemma. And this is all because of climate change. Planning has become so difficult. We are fortunate that GMET has become very efficient. But I tell you, the efficiency is within a very short period. And that is not so good enough for planning farming activities, especially when it comes to planting, which then will reflect on harvesting. So please, what is happening, and the simple thing I'm saying is that climate change has brought us to a point where farming has become a matter of lottery, and we all know what to expect when everything you do as an entrepreneur depends on lottery.
That's a very important, stark way to put it, but this is a very interesting, so it's become lottery, you said?
Sure.
Wow. So in other words, you plant, you're not sure, it's by chance.
By chance, I mean the way things are. But the good thing is,
That's very stark. It's just the imagery in my head is powerful.
And this is what should come strongly to everybody. But I tell you, there is a way out. And that is exactly why we are here.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, and we'll go into that next. And I want to bring in Kingsley. Kingsley, from that very stark imagery in my head of agriculture, which must be a science, now becoming, one that is based on chance. Give us a national overview, because you work at the minute, you work with farmers length and breadth of the country. Of course, the Savannah Ecological Zone, and then you have the forest belt. Are they all affected equally by this, or maybe the Savannah belt is taking the chunk of the hits there? Well, what's the national picture like? You have the microphone right there, yes.
All right, thank you, Evans. And to add to the previous speakers, climate change is having devastating effects on farmers. And it's worrisome for we, the practitioners, as well the policymakers as well. So what has been the Ministry of Agri, what have been doing to support farmers in this regard? We can go back to our national initiatives. Here we talk about the National Climate Change Policy.
In fact, I'll come to that, because that's my next point, so we can expand on that. Yeah. But I just wanted to have a fair idea. I mean, because you have a national picture, we have the Savannah Ecological Zone.
Okay, that's correct.
So just to give me a sense of, in terms of the impact we've just talked about, how is it evenly spread? Everybody else experiencing the same, or one part of the country may be getting...
All right. The simple answer to the question is that, talking about climate change, we look at location-specific assessments. And for that matter, we provide site-specific response. So that is to say that it differs from location to location based on our assessment. And even within the entire agriculture value chain, pre-production, production, post-production, it's not the same. The effects or the impacts are different. Looking about the categories, the impact on women is different from impact on men. Impact on crop farmers are different from those involved in fishery and livestock production. So there are differences in terms of agroecological zone, and there are differences in terms of practitioners, the farming groups. Yes.
Okay, that's a very good way of just looking at it, because people are affected differently. And it's to that I bring in Celine with the EU delegation in Ghana. With this background, how are you prioritizing the interventions that you are putting in place to try and help address the challenge?
Me, mamu, aha, everybody. I'm trying.
Great attempt there.
Thank you. So the EU priorities are to empower the farmer in adapting to climate change and to enhance their resilience. Is it high enough? Yeah. The EU cooperation in the sector seeks to build resilient food systems. And by resilience, we call it sustainability. And here I'm talking about the three aspects of sustainability, which is not just environmental, but economic and social as well. It's very important in terms of resilience. So our development cooperation seeks to do several things in our priorities. One is to lift farmers out of poverty, to increase income in a sustainable manner, to create jobs as well, to access to markets, as well as to safeguard food security. And also we need to talk about production. So in terms of productivity, actually it is pursued while we try to ensure resilient food system, as I said earlier, in the face of challenges like climate change, as well as the soil that are getting impoverished. So I'm happy to say that the EU approach is to have across the board agroecology embedded in all our projects. And we see it as a science as well as a set of practices. And we actually, talking about conservation agriculture, it's among our flagship approach, where we try to recarbonize the soils as well as to minimize agro-inputs, which are usually imported and expensive, I would say, and also chemicals. And we turn this opportunity into a business opportunity. So by actually producing organic pesticides made in Ghana by Ghanaians for Ghanaians. And we have great example of that in the northwest of Ghana, which I will talk about a bit later. Thank you.
Okay, so there's a lot of interventions that the EU is leading, and towards the end she mentions conservation agriculture, and then we've launched a manual about it. And I want to bring in the man who has practiced this all his life, Dr. Bamponsen. What is conservation agriculture?
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Before I do this, I want to acknowledge the presence of two people, if they are here, who partnered with me to write this book.
Round of applause for them.
One, Dr. Sakabwa, if you're here.
That's Doc.
And Dr. Constanzo, if you're here. Thank you too for making it possible. We worked through this together. Unfortunately, our editor, Professor Quatten, did not live to see the day. May his soul rest in peace. Well, conservation agriculture is all about, it's purely an ecological approach to regenerative, sustainable agriculture and ecosystem management based on context-specific, locally adapted, three interlinked principles of ensuring that we do very minimal disturbance to the soil, to be able to produce whatever through harvest, through land preparation to harvesting. Two, ensuring that we keep the soil covered for the greater part of the year, and if at all possible, 365 days of the year. And also, lastly, making sure that there is diversity in our cropping systems to such an extent that it's not just maize, millet, or cowpea, but pure a matter of diversified species above ground, which reflects the diversity of the soil microbiome. And to bring this to the ordinary farmer, we say that conservation agriculture is just a replication of the fallow land conditions on the continuously cropped arable land, so that the continuously cropped arable land will be nearly as productive as the fallow land. And what are we replicating? The fallow land is never disturbed. In fact, nobody goes in there to dig, to plant anything. And so, through the natural systems, the fallow land gets revegetated. This is against the background of the fact that it's proven that African soils are the most fragile soils on earth, the most weathered soils on earth. And those of us who have the most fragile soils, we are the ones who haven't heard anything. We are just working it every day. We are just working it every season. The fallow land is forever covered with vegetation or the litter fall. And so we expect that for our farmers, everything that they don't need to take home to sell, they don't need to take home to eat or feed to the animals or to use for any other purpose should stay on the soil. All these organic materials that we don't have to take away from the farm for other purposes then stay to satisfy the condition of keeping the soil covered all the time. And for that matter, we say that more especially in the savanna areas where people have trees around the homesteads, sweeping around the trees and burning the litter fall is not permitted. And that can easily be returned to where it came from. bring it to the land to cover the soil. We have several, we have the refuse dumps. Who is there? When children are asked to go bring soil to schools, for garden, for flower pots, they say, go to the refuse dump. Who is there at the refuse dump making that rich soil? Our mothers sending the little ones to go and dump all this organic material at the refuse dump is what is making that black soil there. And so, all we are saying is, never ever should any farmer throw away any organic material. It belongs to the soil, it makes the soil good, so let us use whatever, from the kitchen or where, right on the farm, from outside the farm, let us dump everything organic there to cover the soil. You go into the fallow land and you will never see a single plant species. It's full of different types of plant species, some tall, medium, low, crawling, and all that. And this is what gives that fallow land that biological power. And so, the very third principle, talking about diversity, then says that as much as possible, we should make sure that through the rotations, through the sequences, through the relay plantings and all that, we are able to increase the number of different plant species to confer on the system the biological processes to fight pests and diseases, so that whatever we bring from outside comes down. And the buildup of organic matter coming from all these different plant species then would ensure that our reliance on external inputs, more especially fertilizers, which got us deep into the PFJ, will come down. So, for the simple definition, I say that conservation agriculture is just a matter of replicating these three forest land conditions on the continuously cropped arable land, so that the arable land can forever be as productive as the fallow land.
Interesting. And whilst you're talking there, and Prof. Irene, I want to ask you this. What does the research say about the effectiveness of conservation agriculture in the Ghanaian context? And what do we do to scale up adoption?
Research says a lot, and my professors are here. Prof. Fenin is here. Yes, organic farmer. If you see the fruits, but I think it's slightly different from conservation agriculture. We know it works because I am practicing it close to my office, just here.
Okay, give us a practical example. So
yes,
what do you do practically?
I'm saying that practically.
Now, you know what? Once we were speaking, I'm trying to imagine. So if I'm on the farm, what is it that I would do to constitute conservation agriculture in reality? So use your example for me. When you say you're doing it, what do you do on it in reality?
So in reality, the no-till is my understanding. Okay. That you don't want, even if you want to uproot, you don't want to use heavy machines, is that not it? To uproot. If you want to weed, you don't want to use pesticides to remove. Is that my understanding? That's what we did. If you want to weed, again, even with small machines, you don't want heavy ones that will bring out a lot of
because you don't want to disturb the soil.
To disturb the soil fauna and flora. My soil scientists are also here. So what I practice close to my office now, I consider it as conservation, or we call it circular economy agriculture. Okay. Because we don't throw anything away. Tree barks are on the fields. When we even take the weeds, we let it rest on the field. Is that not it? Is that not what we are talking about? Yes. And we bring in other organics, even some inorganics, like paper. We are here, we have a lot of shredded paper. So we use it to also cover.
Leave it on the soil?
Leave it on the soil. So my garden there, all year round, is producing vegetables, is producing grains, is producing cassava. I have plantain. We've just harvested yam. We are selling it tomorrow at the farmers market in Ikwafo Hall. Last week, I harvested and did frying as a value addition.
I'll visit you.
Yes, so I did that on Friday. So I understand, and it is being done. However, the difficulty, and that's why when we visited and we knew it is possible, I've gone to Benin, to Songhai farms, and I know it can work. Getting a lot of farmers to consistently do it is our issue, because there's a P. I think that's what you use. Passion. Is that not it? Passion, patience. These P's, principled. Mr. Green, is Mr. Green here? My facilitator for my garden is called Mr. Green. 12 midnight, he's picking the slacks, because it also attracts a lot of other pests, because it is biodiverse. And he will tell you, don't kill that centipede. Don't kill that millipede. It's a part of conservation agriculture. That is what he will tell you, that don't use sites. Don't kill easily. And that is why I have lived it, and I see others do it. But a lot of the farmers are not able to replicate it because of the peace I talked about, and the fact that you have to live it. You get me? A little bit. And it's not that easy. I tell you, it's not that easy. You didn't see a lot of farmers in the north who were encouraging. You have share nut trees. Do yam conservation agriculture. So do the mounds. You get me? Don't weed. Don't do a lot of the felling of small trees, so that you have all your shade in there, and then your yam mounds are also in there. Is that it? Is that a conservation agriculture? Maybe I'm describing something else. But this is what I have
No,
seen.
he's nodding to you, so that's a sign to say you're on the right path.
I'm able to do it because I have 3 acres of mango. And one day I told my farmers that I want to do what I called organo. It's not organic fully. I called it organo-mineral agriculture. So weed / halfway, these workers bought the pesticide and called me and said, we are tired. We are tired. Otherwise, you have to pay more. So what did I do? I will pay more. No, we've bought the pesticides already. We have sprayed. We have felled these trees that I said, leave them. Some people think some leaves will give too much shade, and it will not allow some of the crops they value so much, because it has high value on the market. So there are few trade-offs, there are conflicts, but I believe that the practitioners can tell you what to do. And therefore, my current research is on dynamic agroforestry. The FIBO is in Switzerland. The ETH is a university in Switzerland, and they are partnering me. We are looking at dynamic agroforestry, which will do something like the conservation agriculture.
Okay.
In September, we went around the country, and we see how difficult some of the farmers were facing, what difficulties they were facing to maintain.
And it's interesting you say that. We'll come back to Dr. Bamposen to examine, so how do we encourage farmers to have the patience, the passion? Because that's the way,
Principle.
you know, exactly, those 3 Ps. That's the way to be and get the results and be climate smart. But let me ask Kingsley. Kingsley, how is policy encouraging adoption and scaling up of this particular? How are you using policy to push this forward?
All right, thank you very much, Evans. And I think I already indicated that conservation agriculture is one of the considerations in Ghana's nationally determined contribution to climate change. That is, when you look at our commitment to the Paris Climate Agreement to reduce the global temperature below 2 degrees Celsius, we have a component for the agriculture sector. And within the agriculture sector, we've outline a number of programs. And one of the programs is conservation agriculture. So how do we do it? Or how do you promote it? We've done this through a number of our projects. An example is Ghana Agriculture Sector Investment Program, where we piloted conservation agriculture in the northern part of Ghana as well as the transitional agroecological zones. Now, as part of this project, by promoting conservation agriculture, there was the need to provide incentives to farmers because it's not as easy as we think. And what do we mean by incentives? We were providing input support to farmers, where we provide farmers with climate resiliencies, we provide farmers with fertilizer to motivate them to adopt conservation agriculture. We also provide credit support to farmers. We also do this as part of our agriculture extension service delivery, where we take our farmers, our agriculture extension officers, to Center for No-Till Agriculture at Amanchia to have practical hands-on training on conservation agriculture. Recently, about 2 weeks back, I coordinated a program where 60 agriculture extension officers across the country were taken to Center for No-Till Agriculture. This is something that we do because we think that knowledge is important. Okay, so it's not only about policy, but knowledge is also important. So that is one. When you look at our approach to addressing climate change, which I did mention, the Climate Smart Agriculture and Food Security Action Plan, in there we also talk about conservation agriculture. So the ministry has embraced it, and we think that is the way to go. But what is more important is to see how we can motivate our farmers, how we can provide incentives to our farmers to be able to adopt and upskill this important climate smart agriculture technology.
Okay, so and I hear you say, I know you haven't said it explicitly, but a lot of it comes down to funding. Because what you're saying costs money, right?
That's correct.
It costs money. I mean, and I was reading the Ghana Climate Change Report, and it says the World Bank actually saying that for us to fund and maintain these interventions is going to cost us an estimated $2 billion annually. In fact, they track the spending that we've put in international donors since 2013, when we put in place a climate policy to date, and they put the figure at $776.5 million. That's a lot of money, right? And the three highest contributors, the first, guess, EU. Second is the Agri Development, the ADB, that Africa Development Bank, and then the third is the United States. So there's a lot of money coming into this, but definitely you need more. The $2 billion a year is something that you can't find. I know that where we are. So we need to adopt a different approach. And I want to bring in Celine on that, because I know the EU has been engaging with local stakeholders, right? And Celine, then that's an important point to give me a sense of how are you doing these engagements to ensure that the climate adaptation measures are effective at the community level, and also sustainable.
Thank you, Evans. Okay, let me start by explaining maybe the approach that we have and then give some concrete examples and successes that we have. But before talking about farmers level, I want to start with the guiding principle of the EU for intervening in this sector. And this is about the EU Green Deal. Some of you must have heard of it. In simple terms, it's basically a set of policy initiatives from the EU to turn ourselves into a green path and to become the first carbon neutral continent by 2050. So we have the Farm to Fork strategy, which is at the heart of the EU Green Deal, and this strategy is meant to accelerate this transition, and it is basically to make food system fair, healthy, and environmentally friendly. So here in Ghana, The approach is integrated. We try to do things all at once, okay? And we also have a value chain approach. And in this regard, actually, I'm happy to report that we are aligned to the government of Ghana strategies, notably the Planting for Food and Job. We have similar value chains. Actually, I can name them. Those one. There is rice, vegetable, sorghum, as well as soybean and cassava. We go beyond that, but those are really in match.
So those same focus crops that the ministry is focusing on. So you want to align?
We want to align, and these are in the recently launched Planting for Food and Job number 2. So as I said earlier, so we mix different type of interventions in order to boost those value chains. And we do that through soft interventions like technical assistance, where you provide knowledge, as well as, I would say, capacity to the farmer to adapt to climate change. And we combine that with also hard infrastructure, like irrigation, large scheme of irrigation, as well as feeder roads to bring the agricultural produce faster to the marketplace. Maybe also, to come back to the technical assistance and the approach that we do, we not only try to build a capacity at farmer level, but we intervene at the extension agent level, at the aggregator level, at the input dealer level, because all of them, they have a pull effect on the farmer's agricultural productivity. And here we're talking about productivity. So now let me come to some example that we have concretely to help farmers adapting to climate change while maintaining productivity, because that's the important keywords that we were talking about earlier, and also the dimensions of sustainability, which needs to be also economic. So I could name a few. One is small-scale irrigation scheme, and here I'm referring to small solar-powered irrigation scheme that we have with a women farming group, which have vegetable gardens. We do it on a pilot basis. We see how it works. We adapt to their needs, and then we roll it out. We also help introducing some crop-resistant crops. We also equip extension agent with adaptation knowledge. And the last bit, because today is about conservation agriculture, we provide knowledge and also demonstration. So, 2 years ago, I think, we produced an interesting video on conservation agriculture principles. A simple video that explains how to apply it and what it means. And it has been put on YouTube. I checked it out a few days ago. You would not believe how much praise we have received. And not only from Ghanaians, but as well from Zambians, from Cambodians, from Koreans. So it's been viewed by almost 400,000 viewers. So actually, I think I will advise my office to put it again on social media for everybody to access, because this is really in the public domain. So this is about spreading the knowledge. But then about understanding how it works. So in the northwest of Ghana, we have demonstration plots, 18 of them, with 1 acre each. And we have decided to have a crop rotation of sorghum as well as soybean. And in terms of yield, I would like to report that from year 1, because you can imagine in year 1, the soil was very enriched. It was not carbonized at all. The yield has been increasing. And it keeps on increasing through the year, and we keep on monitoring. So it's not a way to just demonstrate, but it's monitor that it works, because that is very important. Over the last 3 years, the yield of conservation agriculture has not yet surpassed conventional agriculture if we compare it. But the gap is really, really closing, especially for sorghum, actually. So that's interesting. And we note a consistent increase as opposed to conventional agriculture, which usually produce in a linear, I would say, manner. Another important aspect that I wanted to bring out is the soil improvement. The health of the soil has greatly improved in terms of the pH, the organic matter, how moist is the soil, because that's very important to keep, that water inside to adapt to climate change. So it has increased very much. Last point about the cost of producing on conservation agriculture as opposed to conventional agriculture. Because on conservation agriculture, you remove certain steps. Of course, it minimizes the cost, and the farmer can maybe attend other ways in raising their incomes. As we said earlier, and it was explained, it's much less mechanized, or you have minimum teeing, from what I understand. But also, you remove the cost of perhaps expensive chemical, pesticides, and all of that profits the farmer and his living income. Maybe one last example, because we talked about the Conservation Agriculture Manual, which I wanted to cite, but there's no need. We talked a lot about it. Organic pesticides. Okay, some of you have heard of neem oil, Abes. Yes, we have. So we are testing it actually in the northwest of Ghana, and actually neem trees exist all over Ghana. Okay, so it's a pesticide that have proved great efficacy.
And this is from the neem tree?
The neem tree, exactly.
Or is it the neem tree itself?
Alors, neem seeds.
The neem seeds, okay.
Yes, that you need
because
to
that's
process.
Everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. You need to collect it. You need to process it. It's just a cold press, so it's not like, a huge expensive technology. And then you have this oil that you need to mix with an emulsifier, and then you can spread it. But what I wanted to report here today is more about, of course, the efficacy of it, that is demonstrated, but also because it's for now among the cheapest option you have on the market, even though you have to apply it many times. So we have figures, we keep on checking it. And in that regard, I want to actually join the call from some farmers just last week on Joy Online, you call it? Yes. They were
Wells Fargo presents one of the surest ways to grow your money. A Wells Fargo CD account, where you can earn a 5.00% annual percentage yield on an 11-month term with a minimum opening deposit of $5,000. Visit a Wells Fargo branch or wellsfargo.com/CD rates to open a CD account and start growing your savings with us.
Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Led by the CALA, the Center for African Leaders in Africa.
Yeah.
And their call was to the government of Ghana, so I'm looking at Kinsley, to consider organic pesticides under the Planting for Food and Job number 2. Because we know that it can improve productivity.
You know you're answering that question next, right? Yes.
And we know it can bring also food security. So besides from mitigating also the aspect of, the challenges with synthetic fertilizers, it creates job. And that we know it in Upper West, it has created some jobs. Income opportunities, and it has less of an impact on the health of the farmer and the environment. And the residual effect on subsequent crops basically contributes to the nature rather than disturbing it. So definitely it's a call that we would like to join together with them.
Okay.
Medase.
Thank you very much. And yes, if you want to do it, just do it properly. Do it properly. Do it properly. Yes. And thankfully, as I indicated, I'm coming to you next on that. The EU is joining the farmers to make it happen. What are you doing? The farmers say include organic pesticides in your intervention.
All right, thank you. I think organic fertilizer has been an integral part of PAG. Even the past PFG, we had organic fertilizer, allocation for organic fertilizer.
Pesticides. Organic pesticides.
Organic pesticides.
Yeah.
So I think when we say organic agro pesticides, it also includes fertilizer, the pesticides, and all that.
But there's specifically that.
Yeah, for
there's specifically organic pesticides.
Yeah. I think the issue here has to do with capacity. Okay.
Whose capacity? Farmers or government?
The companies. Because an example is organic fertilizer. Because there was a call on the ministry by civil society organization to make allocation for organic fertilizer and these kind of things. Not necessarily that there was an allocation, but to increase the allocation. Okay. But we had issues with the capacity. When we increased allocation, we had issues with capacity. We had issues with even quality. Okay? So if that should be part of it, then we need some work to be undertaken, be it at the research level, at the demonstration level, to ensure that we are producing quality produce and products.
Okay. In the quantities that we need.
In the quantities that we need. Okay. So there are issues. So we need to look at the issues before we make provision for those. Thank you.
Okay, great. And I guess that then bounces back. The partnership between yourselves and the EU, for example, could explore solutions to the challenge that you just talked about. And I guess, Celine, this is something that you could pick up after here, see how you could work together with them. I want to come to Dr. Bampongseh. Doc, you've had a lot. So just jump in there for me. I guess bottom line is getting the farmers to adopt conservation agriculture. What have you found works in getting the farmers convinced to do it and having the 3 Ps? Patience, passion, and what else? And principle, so that we can adapt it. What works? Share with us.
Well, very interesting. I listened patiently to Prof talking about passion, which is rare, very, very important. But you see, how do you get people to be passionate about things that they don't know about? How do you get people to be passionate about things they haven't seen? So the bottom line is, we have to come to terms with the fact that majority of the food producers in this country, in sub-Saharan Africa, and for that matter, Ghana, are in the smallholder category. And one unique characteristic of the smallholder farming is that, with all apologies, they have limited education. They are not the people that you can hand over research and extension leaflets to, or refer them to the internet to read, make sense, and adapt to their specific farming conditions. They are the people for whom seeing is the truth. And I say that if we have nothing to show, we will never be accepted. And that is where the Center for No-Till Agriculture has gone around it, showing the benefits and evidence to convince farmers that it is true, it works. But how many of these centers are scattered around the country? My brother is here. I've been on the ministry for years. That if nothing at all, every department of the departmental office within how many district? 261. And we just had MAG coming through. And MAG was not tied to anything. Whatever works within the district is what should be explored and promoted. And so, if we had used that facility to set up permanent 1-acre plots within these 261 centers to actually show the value to the people. I have seen people coming to my center, seeing it and crying and saying, Kofi, where were all these? They have been with us, he said it, for decades. But how are we showing it to the farmers? And so, the bottom line is, right from the universities through the agricultural colleges, and the principals are here, it is a big challenge. We have to have permanent centers to continue to show the value. And people will be seeing it, working every time, will be passionate, but not that. There we have 3-stage approach to winning farmers coming on this. First, they need to understand that the concept, they need to understand the concept, because in most cases, this is completely different, a change of mindset. And so this is where we pick it from the fallow land to get into discussion with the farmers, very much participatory, for them to understand. Because every farmer in this country realizes that to choose between a degraded soil and a degraded land and the fallow land, they will go for the fallow land. And so bring their minds to what is it in the fallow land that they think will make it more productive than the degraded land. And this is where we explore the 3 principles and get them to believe that if they replicate that on their fields, it will work. But getting their understanding is not just enough. They understand it, so what? They've got to see the benefits, the value, the evidence on the ground. And this is where we walk farmers around our center, around farmers who have already adopted doing it and getting them to talk to their fellow farmers. So at this point, they get to understand, they get to see that it is true, it is valuable, they have to go for it. But then they should be able to do it on their land, on their farms. And so we build their capacity for adoption by building their skills, hand-on skills. So with these 3 strategic points, we are able to get the farmers to heighten their passion for adoption. And right now, as we sit here, thanks to GIZ, the MOVE program has been sponsoring a lot of farmers and technical staff to go through what I'm saying. And if we had at least 2 minutes to call back for the participants who have been there since Monday, Tuesday, today, and they are finishing on Sunday, for 1 or 2 of them to give their impressions about what they have gone through even within the 3 days, you will get to see the passion Prof is talking about is working. And that is what drives the business.
Thank you very much. This is a lot to chew on. Thank you very much. And by the way, you are still live on the Joy News channel. You're still live on Joy 99.7 FM. This is our conversation about food. I don't want to bore you with a technical term. It's about what you eat tonight and what you ate in the morning. And that's what we are talking about. And we just want to make sure that you continue to have that favorite dish of yours, which is currently under threat because of climate change. And so we're having a conversation about how to build the climate change adaptation capacity at a farmer level so they can remain resilient in the face of the challenges that climate change is posing to agriculture in Ghana. I'm going to go into my audience now and invite you to join the conversation. Right now, I need 1 microphone or 2 to get into the audience. And if you have any question or if you have any contribution, please just raise your hands. A microphone will come to you, and then you do it. And I want you, all of you, to do it in a minute or less, strictly. A minute or less. We just have 15 minutes to interact, audience and panel, and then we can wrap up. And so, yes, Adisa, I want to take the one here first. There's a lady in front who has a hand. Okay. So let's do that. Please, a minute or less. Contribution or question, both. Yes, please. Introduce yourself.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. I just want to add...
introduce yourself, please.
Sorry, I'm Dora Nena, Department of Soil Science, University of Ghana.
Okay.
Thank you very much for this opportunity and this insightful discussion that we are having. I just want to add a few points to what has been said with regards to the passion, the patience, the principle. In terms of dealing with this issue, if you look at the northern zone, the northern savannah, or let me say the savannah zone, you realize that we need even much more than patience, passion, and principle. In addition, we need commitment. We need intentionality. And we need that level of, contentment that even with the commitment, even with the intentionality, we are able to achieve it. It feels like having to manage one of these life-threatening, deadly diseases. You have to really get intentional to be able to make it. That's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you very much. That's very important. Commitment. There's one, there's a lady stand behind you. Please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Delis Makati, also from School of Agriculture. Mine has to do with the passion, principles, and patience the Dean spoke about. And I think one major challenge here is land tenure. Because conservation agriculture, just like other soil fertility management issues, has to do with tenure. I mean, it takes time for the benefits to accrue. And if you don't own the land and you have to put in effort, and the results start to come, and then the owner of the land comes to take it. So, I mean, the incentive to even invest that time into it becomes a challenge. So land tenure is one of the issues we need to take a critical look at if we have to promote this.
And that's a very, very important point indeed. There's a hand there. Yes, I'll take that. I'll take that. Great. And then once you've done, you hand back to the gentleman behind you. Yes, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm Mr. Dangana Mama, coming from Babli Research Station. Well, for the points we have put together, I think we need to look at all the disciplines. The pest level, what do you call it, pesticide application, compost. Now
please stand for me, okay? Please stand so we can see you here because you're on national television. Okay, great.
Thank you very much. I'm saying that if you're looking at conservation agriculture, it brings along with it a lot of disciplines. You are looking at crop protection. You are looking at how you are going to the soil. You are also looking at climate. And once you are doing this, you need to combine them effectively. If you are looking at what do you call it, the soil, which is a living system that you need to put down so that crops can grow very well on it, you need to look at how you have to empower it. And this area, as we are discussing, nobody mentioned about compost preparation, which is also something that encourages microorganisms and which goes far to enrich the soil so great. And as we are looking at it, like Madame mentioned earlier, she talked about honey. We are looking at conventional agriculture that will come in with a lot of chemicals that destroy some beneficial insects like the honeybee. Until we are able to integrate what pollinators do in crop production together with the climate and looking at the soil, catching along with our farmers, getting them committed, conventional agriculture will not be 100%.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. I'll take the gentleman right behind you, right behind you, right behind you, right behind you. Yes, introduce yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm Anas from UDS, Tamale. I just want to contribute to the point Mr. Kinsel made on the motivation. And one of the things that we've learned from school is there's something we call positive externality in conserving or in sustainable agriculture. And one of the people that contribute in that is those that engage in beekeeping, and also those that engage in flowers, growing flowers. So in agreeing to his point, there need to be some form of motivation that these people can have to make their sector very attractive. That can also translate into the rest of the various stakeholders involved, so that everyone will find it attractive to be engaged in this fight and also the climate change issues.
Okay, thank you very much. You're going into agric when you graduate?
You said?
Will you go into agric when you finish school?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, how many years are you left?
Just 1 year.
Just 1 year. Yes. Okay, have you found a farm already?
I'll be doing next year.
Next year.
I'm still searching.
Okay, you have to start early. I see here the land tenure is a problem. So yes, great there. Let's take one. Let's take one from the front here to the yes. Please hand up. Let's Adisa see you, and let's get a microphone to him to contribute. If you have a question, you can ask also. Okay, please.
So I think mine is a question to our panelists. So just like we are looking at the topic, how to build climate change adaptation capacity at the farmer level, I want to ask with our insight as we have, and I think also how precision agriculture comes in.
How what?
Precision agriculture comes in to help.
What is precision agriculture?
So, I mean, using of technologies like drones, IoTs to help in this case. So looking at this knowledge we have in precision agriculture, how does it relate to this adaptation process and building the capacity of the farmers, especially the smallholder farmers, which becomes our major producers for the foods that we're actually talking about. Also, my next question will be, how can we improve access to climate and weather data and long-term projections at a local level to help farmers make informed decisions about adapting their farming strategies?
So you have to say that again.
Okay. Okay, so how can we improve access to climate and weather data? So the improvement of climate and weather data and long-term projections at a local level to help farmers make informed decisions about adapting their farming strategies.
Okay, I'll give it to your prof. I'll give the first one, precision agriculture, to your prof. You knew this was coming. So he's defined it. I think I got a term there, precision agriculture. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So your microphone is there. I mean, how can you deploy that?
Yeah, so in
to aid conservation agriculture,
one of the things we do is to test soil so that you'll be precise. So the soil lacks nitrogen more than phosphorus. Don't just do 15, 15, 15, you know, the way we generalize. But in precision agriculture, you want to test your soil and say that you want to blend. And if you want to use inorganic agriculture, then you know dosage and then the combinations. So that is one. Then there's the vertical farming. You get me? You need.
What is vertical farming?
So even
like you
in
have to climb a tree.
No, even in conservation agriculture, you can have your small land because tenure is an issue. You can have your small space, but you'll not be going horizontal. You'll be doing things that can climb. Your tomatoes can be going up. Your sweet potatoes, a number of things can be going up, and there are technologies that have been designed specifically for that. So these are things that are being explored and being shared with farmers. The extent of adoption is also things
that
that
this would be yes. You need the cash for this.
Then you know in precision, because you have to get data. He's asking some of the measurements. You can use AI, machine learning, these things that they call the fourth industrial revolution tools that you can use to be very precise, even drones. So fall armyworm is here in your conserved area. You want to use organic pesticide. You put it in measurements in drone. Drone has picked the deficiency and told you what should really be the solution. And the drone can just go into the maize and where you should actually put it. So it's a little bit expensive, but those who have been able to do it for some time have actually reduced their costs because it's economics, like an average cost over time can reduce. And this is being done, maybe in Europe. I've just come from China, and China is experimenting it big time. I believe in other developed countries, their reality. We are also exploring it. I don't know if some of it is being done at the North area.
Yeah, for
Tech
sure.
Tools. Yeah.
What really happens is that we have several concepts running around the world. And you look deeply into this. You see, conservation agriculture is the functional principle of all these concepts. And so we say that conservation agriculture plus. So plus what? Plus other complementary practices. And precision agriculture is one of them. So all of these will come in to help enhance the value of conservation agriculture. And so precision agriculture, expect IPM, integrated pest management, whatever, integrated crop management, all of this, watershed management, they all come together. But then, the very first, the key principles are universal, cutting across all these concepts. And when you bring in all these complementary best practices, such as we're talking about precision agriculture, then the game is won.
Okay. I saw a hand also there in the audience. I'll take 3 more. I saw your hand. Yes, I'll take yours, and I'll take his, and I'll take that, and then I'll come to my audience because time is not our friend right now.
Okay. Hello. Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. Thank you, the panelists, for very good discussion. It's not debatable. It's obvious that the way to go.
Please introduce yourself.
Sorry, my name is Ken Okwai-Feni. I'm also an entomologist in the School of Agriculture.
Okay.
I'm happy to hear about the NIM one, which is very good. So let's promote it more. But then what I would like to say, there's no doubt that the way to go is conservation agriculture for sustainability. But it's not a fast-track approach. And that is why policy is very key. There should be a deliberate effort in terms of policy to incentivize those who have set the pace. Because if you are putting in the system, it doesn't give returns quickly. And therefore, it's not attractive to people, especially the youth who want to go into agriculture. They want to see returns very quick, and that will not be the way. So policy-wise, there should be a deliberate effort to incentivize, support people to do. Because obviously, in the long term, that is what will keep all of us alive and sustain. But it doesn't come with quick returns. So we need to really do more and support people to be able to get there.
Okay.
So that is the point I would like
Thank you very much. And Dr. Boaponson, I'll come back to you when we're wrapping up to give me one or two success stories, right, that improve people's livelihoods. So that will be the last message. So any a farmer anywhere listening to you will see that it works. So please prepare for that for me. Yes, I'll take him. I promised him I'll come to him. Yes. No. Let's hear him. Because you're sitting close, so I'm hoping that there'll be cross-fertilization. So I can hear this one.
My name is Joseph Honga. I'm a plant pathologist in the School of Agriculture. And for a plant pathologist, I find it very difficult to agree with the conservation agriculture. There is a bacteria called Xanthomonas campestris patova mangifera indica.
Please pause. Do you want to repeat that for me? One more.
There's a bacterium. The mango is having a problem called BBS. The bacteria that causes that disease is called Xanthomonas citripatova mangifera indica. And that bacteria is always multiplying in leaf litter. So once you allow the mango leaves to stay in your soil, what you are doing is you are multiplying the bacterium. So once it rains, every fruit that is there will take up the bacterium from the soil. So for plant pathologists, we always tell farmers, keep your farm as neat as possible. That means every litter that falls, you have to clear it from the field. So my question to the conservation proponents, have they spoken to farmers? Have they seen any increase in incidence of diseases on such fields? Because that is what I'm suspecting.
Okay, thank you. So we have 5 minutes to wrap this all up. So I'm going to end the audience engagement and then come and wrap up here. Okay, 5 minutes to wrap it up. So I will start first with. I think I should start with Dr. Boaponson. You get the last word. Doc, can you address that for me in a minute?
Yes.
In a minute.
Sure. In fact, what we want people to understand and appreciate is that conservation agriculture is not organic farming. It's got to be made clear. We have pure organic conservation agriculture being pushed by the Rodale Institute in Pennsylvania. And then what is happening is that, we all keep dogs in our house to protect us. Good. But what happens to you when the dog begins to bite people and you get into, it gets mad and a whole lot of problems are coming? What do? You kill it. Yeah, so all that we are saying is that in conservation agriculture, we are not restricting the use of pesticides. But then, if you grow deep into conservation agriculture, what you realize is that the diversity of plant species and a whole lot of things, integration of the cover crops, all of these build the soil. It builds soil health to a point where the soil microbiome, just like our gut microbiome, fights diseases for us. You will see a reduction in the incidence of diseases.
Okay.
And it will be very interesting for us to work together on this.
Okay.
To ensure that we can minimize this by the natural systems, but then complement that with external input to play it down.
And Prof, in 30 seconds, give me one success story.
Oh, okay. So, in areas where we have actually gone through, especially around my place, one of the things you'll see is that, yes, now increased yields, more food to eat, and all this. And what has been so motivating is, traditionally, these very, let's say, smallholder farmers, realizing that now they need to bring their kids, small kids, right from the village to what they call experimental schools or whatever in the city, where in the morning you see about 5 school vehicles coming on the bad road to the villages to bring children from the village to those schools where the school fees is several times higher than the public school. What prompted this? It's because of the adoption of conservation agriculture that has made it possible for these people to stay on the same piece of land, farming it season after season without any fallow, because they are replicating the fallow land conditions in there. And so, reduction in labor, when you integrate the cover crops and things, if you have planted maize and you integrate the bush mucuna, for which you never come into weed anymore, you invest that time in doing other things. And so we have traditional carpenters, we have teachers, we have masons, we have medical officers who are now farming just as they are doing their other profession. But the other good thing is that as these farmers are doing all these things to benefit their own self, they are doing a big service to the community, to the district, and to the nation.
And to the climate.
In terms of stopping bush burning, realizing that you don't need to burn, you don't need that clean seed bed to be able to grow a crop. And so they are helping themselves, but they are also helping all of us, and we are not paying any reward for that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Prof, you have a minute to give me your final words.
Say, I do things to understand the farmer, and that's what I promote. So try and do something to understand the farmer. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. That's sharp and short. Yes, Celine?
From my side, I just wanted to pick on beekeeping and give great success. Actually, currently we've been trying to introduce in cashew plantation, and the yield has been increased, if I remember well, above 90%. So these are techniques that we want to replicate actually
Yield
in our
increased
next
by 90%. Okay.
Yes. So it's really working, and it is what is needed more and more. So the value chain of beekeeping is something that we are looking at now in a greater scale in our next funding. So I'm happy to say that.
Thank you very much.
In reply to what you said earlier
yes, about the partnership.
About organic pesticide, yes, this is something we're experiencing now since 2017. But in our next funding phase, it's something we definitely want to look at. And in terms of what Kingsley said, the problem of production capacity.
Thank you very much. Kingsley, you have a minute. I want a commitment. She just told you next funding phase, you will get something to solve the problem. Give me a quick 30-second commitment. You've heard the challenges. What is it that we can expect the ministry to do differently now to scale adoption?
All right. Thank you very much. Before then, I want to address the issue.
You have 30 seconds because television will catch you.
No, but I just want to quickly mention that the ministry is actually on top and supporting climate information services. So the ministry has provided about 12 automatic weather stations because we think
that's the data. The database.
Yes, somebody wanted to know what the ministry is doing.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
so to the commitment.
But I want to indicate that the ministry's position is climate smart agriculture, and conservation agriculture is one of the CSA practices. Okay? So we are indeed grateful to EU for making this manual, EU and GIZ for making this manual available to the ministry. And I want to indicate that we all here have a responsibility to ensure proper utilization of the manual. Okay. It doesn't rest only on the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. We all have a responsibility. Okay. And I can assure you that as a lead ministry for climate change and agriculture development in the country, we will ensure that we put this manual into proper use.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for my panelists, Celine, Irene, Dr. Boaponsen, and Kingsley. I'm grateful. I now want to invite the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana, Victoria Michaels, to give us the closing remarks, and a round of applause for her.
Thank you. Good evening, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. All protocols observed. I am very delighted to be in your midst this evening. For those of you who are not familiar with me, my name is Victoria Michaels. I am honored to serve as the EU Goodwill Ambassador in Ghana for Sustainability, Youth and Employment. My role entails spreading awareness about EU initiatives aimed at promoting job creation, sustainable growth, and engaging with Ghanaian youth. Today, I am delighted to be here discussing a topic very close to my heart, climate change. And I'm particularly thrilled to see so many young people in attendance who share a similar concern. So before I continue, I also have a confession to make, but mine is quite positive. I am not a farmer, but I'm on the way to becoming one. So I was having a conversation with Professor Irene earlier, and I told her that I will definitely do farming in my lifetime. And that didn't sit quite well with her. She said, no, Victoria, you are going to do farming next year. So you're looking at, a farmer in the making. And that brings me to a line that stuck with me in Ambassador Krau's speech. He said that women have a leading role to play, in the transition and growth of agriculture across the globe. And I believe this is possible. So all women in this house right now, I want to give yourselves a round of applause because this is achievable. And I would also like us to applaud our honorable and knowledgeable panel that I must say is a very insightful conversation. Conservation agriculture, right, is the way to go. Please give it up for them. And a bigger round of applause to the EU and GIZ for providing the manual that will help make this achievable. Please give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. It is undeniable that young people constitute a significant portion of Ghana's population and hold the key to shaping our country's future. Their ideas, entrepreneurship, and engagement are crucial for the success of individual businesses, the formulation of effective policies, and the overall stability of our economy and governance. Climate change affects us all. It disregards borders and age. We have witnessed its impact through rising temperatures, intensifying storms, devastating droughts, and disappearing ecosystems. These events serve as a stark reminder that urgent and decisive action is essential. As a climate champion working closely with the EU, I have been actively involved in climate mitigation efforts within our communities. Initiatives such as beach cleaning and waste collections have contributed to reducing the impact of climate change. Today, our focus has shifted slightly towards adaptation with the unveiling of the Climate Adaptation Manual and engaging discussions on the subject. It is important to recognize that climate mitigation and adaptation are interconnected and mutually beneficial. When we engage in climate mitigation, we reduce the severity of climate change and the subsequent effects. Simultaneously, adapting to changing climate safeguards our communities and enhances their resilience, enabling them to better withstand and recover from climate-related challenges. As the EU Goodwill Ambassador, I implore governments, organizations, businesses, and individuals to incorporate both climate mitigation and adaptation in their strategies, policies, and daily practices. Let us invest in low-carbon technologies, promote sustainable land use, prioritize ecosystem restoration, and develop climate-smart infrastructure. By intertwining these efforts, we can construct a climate-resilient world that not only mitigates the impacts of climate change, but also protects and empowers our communities. Together, we can forge a path forward that respects the environment, uplifts vulnerable populations, and safeguards the planet for generations to come. Let us seize this opportunity and work hand in hand towards a future where climate mitigation and adaptation go hand in hand, paving the way for a sustainable, climate-resilient Ghana. Thank you for your attention and commitment to this course. Once again, it is a pleasure to meet you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much. Thank you to Joy News. Thank you to Joy 99.7 FM. Thank you to the EU. Thank you to GIZ for making this possible. And thank you all for coming. And thank you to all our audience who joined us virtually and also online. We are grateful that you came. Enjoy the rest of your day. My name is Evan Spencer.
Every day, people have money emergencies.
I need my school fees.
Emergency.
Mommy, chop
money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other.
All right, so there we were, cruising through the new open-air zoo when I realized that the park was closing in like 15 minutes. Luckily, we were in my Nissan Rogue. With its powerful VC turbo engine, well, we had time to see all the animals. Whoa! And outrun a few!
Drive the Nissan Rogue.
Banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Introducing the Kensington Heights at Airport City Kumasi, the largest modern smart city in West Africa. The Kensington Heights is your bridge to the skies, where you can access direct flights to international destinations, including the USA, UK, and Europe. Imagine a world where convenience, comfort, and investment opportunities converge seamlessly. The Kensington Heights offers an incredible opportunity for families, investors, and businesses worldwide. Enjoy spacious and beautifully designed luxury suites, executive suites, one-bedroom apartments, and 2- and 3-bedroom penthouses, complete with world-class amenities and easy access to the new Kumasi International Airport. All units are on sale now, starting at $69,950. Be a part of the future of Kumasi and reserve your property today. For more information, visit our websites www.thekensingtonheights.com or www.airportcitykumasi.com.
It's incredible. Bang on target.
Daddy, this tank is big.
Yes, that's true.
It can store a lot of water.
That's so true.
Wow, it has a working tortoise on it.
That's so true.
I can see SINTEX. Syntax.
That is so true, my daughter.
When it falls down, it will spoil.
That's not true.
But why?
Hey! Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana. Syntex again was the first to introduce white inner layers in Ghana. Syntex gives you the biggest warranty, 7 years. No matter your water needs, Syntex is the answer. Syntex tank. Are you strong? Are you tough?
Smile, Look lively, okay? Smile, smile. Is the money too small?
A bad stomach ruins your day. Don't let it. Take Gastron, your most effective antacid, for the relief of symptoms of peptic ulcer, heartburn, gas pain, flatulence, and indigestion.
Hey guys, what are you waiting for? Let's go, let's go.
Mwah. Can you bring down the smiles more?
Gastron, effective relief from stomach discomfort. Manufactured and distributed by NS Chemist Limited. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
The 2023 EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is more than an exhibition. It's the gateway to your dream home. Don't miss this chance to make informed decisions about every aspect of your living space. Join us at the Accra International Conference Center from Thursday, November 23rd to Sunday, November 26th, 2023. This year, we are diving into the theme of home ownership, exploring the nuances between affordability, comfort, and luxury. We are bringing everything housing under one roof, just for you. See you there. The EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair is in partnership with EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank, and powered by the Planned City Extension Project from Cities and Habitats. Rent to own. And sponsored by Elegant Homes and General Constructions Limited, where quality meets value. Global Lighting, your solution to quality lighting. Syntex Tank, Air Strong, Air Tough. Springfield Estates, where dreams are built. Virtual Security, complete security solution. DBS, your roof experts. Virtual InfoSec Africa, security solutions by design.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home. Saint Gobain Weber, Gyproc, Proroc, Placo, Isover, making the world a better home.
Clifton Homes, beautiful homes, wise investments. The Kissington Heights, Airport City, Kumasi, by HDG Homes Limited.
A nation that honors its heroes is worth dying for. After months of rigorous contests for recognition in the regions and districts, the maiden edition of the Ghana Health Service Excellence Awards 2023, the grand finale comes off at the Grand Arena, Accra International Conference Center.
Join us celebrate and honor our hardworking health professionals. Date November 29, 2023.
Our special guest of honor, Her Excellency Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, First Lady, Republic of Ghana. From 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., there will be an exhibition, free health screening, blood donation, and public lectures. 6 p.m., arrival in style, and at 7 p.m., the main awards event begins. For sponsorship, contact 0244 125 314 or 0543 726-406. Ghana Health Service Excellence Awards, celebrating our heroes, our lifeline.
On the 25th day of November, Africa will be moved by music. It's the 11th Guinness Ghana DJ Awards, powered by Smirnoff. Who wins what? Who wears what? The back-to-back jams by the hottest DJs and your favorite music stars. Celebrate the biggest night of music as we recognize our iconic DJs. Don't miss performances by DJ Sky, Stoneboy, DJ Nice, Master Q, Gal Dem DJ, Samini, Lil Wayne, DJ Sly, The Mask DJ, and all the way from Netherlands, DJ Polyester. Dial *713*33*33# to get your tickets to this unforgettable night of great music. The Guinness Ghana DJ Awards is powered by Smirnoff and sponsored by Game Park Ghana, Virtual Sound Lab, DSTV Aquaba Magic, PC Entertainment, Hooked On Entertainment, with media partners Joy 99.7 FM, Hits FM, Joy Prime TV, WhatsApp TV, GhanaMusic.com, The Radio Advertising People, and Showbiz TV.
1, 2, give it a dance. Let's go. Say hello with everybody for you. Body just shake below.
Your favorite TV game show, Step Up, is back with another amazing season. This time, we are stepping up with Syntax Tank. Step Up with Syntax Tank will see contestants answer questions of their choice and win over 6,000 Ghana Cedis cash prize weekly and other products from our sponsors. This season, viewers at home should watch out for the Syntax Tank question of the week. Be the first to answer correctly via WhatsApp or send SMS to 050-833-8888 and win incredible prizes. The person who answers most of the weekly questions correctly and fastest gets a 65-inch Samsung TV at the end of the season. Step Up with Syntax Tank, showing on Joy Prime every Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Sponsored by Bell Eyes, MTN Momo, Angel Cola. Powered by Syntax Tank. Joy Prime, your ultimate experience.
Calling all Odadiers, students and well-wishers. Join us for an unforgettable day as Presec marks its 85th anniversary with a grand speech and prize-giving day hosted by the Odadia 98-year group under the theme Building Upon a Legacy of Excellence, Developing Holistic Values-Driven Change Agents. Chaired by Mr. James Boateng, 2018 National Best Farmer and Odadia 78. The event starts at 10 a.m. on the 25th of November 2023 at the newly built ceremonial grounds. Speakers for the day will include Dr. Delali Fiagbe, Head of Psychiatry at UGMS, and Mr. Kwabena Asantipoku, Country Director of British International Investment, both proud Odadia 98. Our guest of honor is Dr. Yao Osei-Duchu, Minister of Education, with Dr. Ofori Sapo and Right Reverend Professor Joseph Obri Yabuamante gracing the event as special guests. Mark your calendars, 25th November at the Presec Ceremonial Grounds. Oh, come along and join us as we celebrate 85 years of excellence. Brought to you by the Odadia 98, Illuminator with the Bimos Lumen.
Hello there, you're welcome to Let's Talk Showbiz here on the Joy News channel. My name is Doreen Avio, and today I have a lot to share with you here on the show. Most importantly, of course, our celebrities always doing a lot of great things, and it's just right for us to let you know, aside their music, aside their movies, aside every other thing they do. So just sit back, relax as I take you through it one after the other. If you're just joining me, this is Let's Talk Showbiz. My name is Doreen Avio, and I'm so excited this afternoon. So we're starting with Wendy Shea, and of course Wendy Shea has a foundation. She calls it the Shea Foundation, and as part of activities to mark World Children's Day, she actually decided to visit students of Wager Presby, that's a school over there, and you know, she just didn't pay a visit to them, but she decided to put smiles on their faces. Now, she actually gave them items like school uniforms, stationery, bags, and the exciting bit, after all that, getting to interact with them. You know, some of these young people, when they organize concerts, because they are young, they're unable to go for concerts like this. So Wendy, she actually took the opportunity to perform for these young children, and you can tell the excitement, and you know, she has fans. It was beautiful. Our cameras were there, and obviously we captured every bit of it. And also, we spoke to Wendy Shea, and she tells us more about the foundation and maybe subsequent projects in future.
Okay, so Shea Foundation is a non-profit organization that actually takes care of people from young to adult, and we have programs like the Shea Educare and the Shea Care. So the Shea Educare is more about stuff like this, taking care of people and making sure that children have quality education. And then the Shea Care takes care of generally everything that in terms of water, everything that the well-being of people in general. And so today, being the International Children's Day, we actually thought, why not, So I actually made my team go out, look for the things schools like these need, and we realized that they need a lot of facilities and equipment like blackboards or things like blackboards and school uniforms, because we realized that most of these children don't have good materials to concentrate on and focus on their studies. So just imagine a child having to leave school because they don't have, materials and books and pencils and, something to wear to school. So I thought to myself, okay, I would have to take this onto myself and then donate stuffs like that for these future leaders, because you never know. We have presidents in it, we have musicians in it, They are going to be the future, or they are the future. So I decided to, help in my own way through the Shea Foundation to cater for these kids. Exactly.
Is this gesture going to be annually, monthly? Quarterly?
Actually, I've been doing this since 2019, but this sort of project is my very first time. Since 2019, I've been going to orphanages, leprosariums, basically going to adult homes. I've been doing a lot lately, for a very long time. But now I think this is the time God wants Shea Foundation to be heard and to be seen, so that anyone who wants to help fund and invest and also sponsor these projects like these, we are going to, so you can find Shea Foundation, Wendy Shea Foundation, on all digital platforms. Never. I'll always choose music. I think God actually gave me the best career and talent ever. I'll always want to be a musician. Yes. But I pray that, the next time I come, if I should come to life, which I really don't want to, but if I should, I'll pray that, I'll come to a better system where, there are royalties and things that really take care of the artist and the, artistry. Yes.
That aims at supporting the educational needs of children in our community and across Africa and beyond. Children like you. Our main mission is to provide equitable access to quality education for undeserved communities with the focus of individuals through innovative learning programs and resources. It is sad to see that some students are forced to drop out of school just because they lack proper school uniforms and the needed materials to study. Education is the key to a better future. And we must do everything in our power to ensure that all children have access to it. As Nelson Mandela once said, and I quote, education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world.
Right, so that was Wendy Shea and her team. You could tell how excited she was doing this. I won't be surprised if she continues that. But I also intrigued that celebrities should go all the way to do that, because a lot of these young kids are unable to come for their concerts. They probably see them on TV, and that's just it. So if you go there, perform for them, they grow with your music and they get to know you more. Now, away from that, from kids to kids, yes, and this time it has to do with Big Chef. Now, Big Chef is back, but this time it has nothing to do with the tertiary. It has to do with the young ones, obviously where it started from. And auditions have taken place. Well, they called, they answered, but the young ones were really excited. They all want to cook. So with the auditions, it did happen, and I'm sure they are going to trim them down all the way to the number they want, which is obviously 12 in all, so that they can start the competition. So I just want you to have a feel of how the audition went, who didn't make it, who made it, how happy they were, how the judges interacted with them. Look, I'm just packing everything together for you. So just check out how it all went down at the audition.
Can you come over? We could chop love and tuna. I want you here, don't send me your tuna. I don't mind that Uber driver. I go fit by that Uber. Oh my girl, carry me money out. Let me your baby, and I go make you my lady all night long. Carry me money out. Make me your baby, and I go make you my lady all night long.
Of age. I school at Bishop International School. I came here with my mom to participate for the Big Chef Season 3. The food I like best is
what should the judges expect?
So my name is Jessica KNP, and I am 12 years old. I'm very glad to be participating in Big Chef Season 3. I attend school at St. Peter's Mission School, and I am in JHS 1. So my favorite food I like preparing is Indomie Bunny, but in a different way. And today I came here with courage, and I want to live here in a smile. So I would like to say I want the judges to expect something very best or something very good from me today. Yes, thank you.
Right, so that's it on Big Chef. So we're all waiting patiently so that it will start airing. We'll have our 12 contestants, and then every week there will be some sort of eviction, and then, you know, the children cooking here and there. Let's see what they will be cooking for us as well. So just keep your fingers crossed, and as and when it starts on Joy Prime, the noise will come out. So away from that, we are just, should I say, few days to the month of December. Obviously, Christmas coming up with all the exciting events that are popping up. Some of them are annual events, but there are new ones coming up. And there's one thing that maybe a lot of people haven't taken notice of. Obviously, has to do with security. Everywhere we go as people, we want to make sure that we are okay, or we are better at the place we sit or stand. So last Saturday, Joy FM, actually Showbiz A to Z, actually held their 4th edition of the Showbiz Roundtable, and one of the topics for discussion was security. So we had a lot of people talk about security, and quite a number of them were actually advising that we take charge of our personal security, because yes, there's security at the place, but you also need to take care of yourself as a person. So here are bits, or should I say pieces of the Showbiz Roundtable that happened at the Labadi Beach Hotel.
How do you go about insurance? Do you insure every single event?
There are, in the US, for instance, you can just, let's say you're organizing a wedding.
Yeah.
You can just go online, provide information, and insure your wedding.
Just like that?
Just like that. And you pay online, and then there's a certificate. If there's a claim, it will be paid.
But in Ghana?
In Ghana, we don't have a lot of companies doing it. But some brokers are packaging solutions for it. What I know is there's an insurance company that is providing event liability insurance.
Okay.
There's also event cancellation insurance. And I think
which one is that?
Event cancellation is where there's an intermediary activity that causes you to cancel. For instance, I heard Kojo and you talking about some artists failing to turn up.
Yeah.
If the artist doesn't turn up due to probably they had an accident or something happened to them that made it impossible for them to turn up, but you have invested heavily in this particular event, sometimes it runs into millions of cedis. You mentioned that there are some people in Ghana, some artists that will charge you $150,000 to be on the show. You've made an advance payment of $100,000. Then something happens, the person doesn't show up. What do? Okay, you say act of God and you throw your hands in the air, your company is going to collapse. Okay, so insurance, if you have insurance,
I encourage the general public to enjoy the festive seasons, and please, your safety, your security is your own responsibility. And it's only the public that can really help assure event safety and security. Whilst the professional event organizers, we struggle with the funds and the budgets that we have. So honestly, I will hand over my campaign to you. And I hope you carry on. I'm for safer events.
Exactly.
And I hope my panelists joins me, the general public joins me. We can actually do it. So thank you.
Good one there, Richard was said. Now to you, Solomon Lati.
I would like to commend the entertainment industry in Ghana.
Right, so this is what you missed out last Saturday at the Labadi Beach Hotel. Obviously, I'm sure this is the last for the year. If there will be anyone, it obviously will come in 2024. But most importantly, based on what they have said, you also need to take care of yourself because December is coming. A lot of events are coming up. We'll all go out, we'll chill, we'll hang out. But make sure you take care of yourself. Show was hosted by Kwame Datsi and Luella Karinyali. And obviously bringing us to the end of Showbiz, or should I say, Let's Talk Showbiz here on the Joy News channel. My name is Doreen Avi. Let me say a very big thank you to you, Akins on the camera, IB, Ike. You guys are simply amazing. And thank you to you always tuning in to watch us here on the Joy News channel. Do have a wonderful evening.
Coming up tonight on Business Live, Ministry of Finance rallies support to pass 2024 budget to enable smooth implementation of key policies and achieve projected revenue target.
Parliament with some revenue measures. And we ask that the public speak to their members of Parliament to make sure they support us to let this happen. We are asking also for Parliament to give government, grant government the opportunity to give some reliefs to companies.
Meanwhile, Speaker of Parliament gives go-ahead for debate of 2024 budget after deferring it for the second day following absence of Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta and his deputies. You're live with our parliamentary correspondent. Accounting and auditing firm PwC cautions government against celebrating revival of economy, saying there is still a long way to go. On the Joy Business Van today, we venture into the business of storytelling and hear how thriving theatre house Globe Productions is promoting local content. These and many more coming your way in the next 30 minutes with me, Emma Davis, right after this break.